My name is Toyia, and I was unsuspectedly provoked by reading the book Shut the Hell Up.
Toya, it's good to have you with us today. Shut the hell up. What did you think when you heard that title?
When I first heard the title of the book, Shut the Hell Up, the first thing that came to my mind is, of course, that's the title of the book. I think the author kind of gets a kick out of like the shock value between his messages and the way that he story tells. So I was not particularly, I think I was surprised that it was Shut the Hell Up, but then at the same time, I wasn't surprised. I was also curious because I feel like with the name Shut the Hell Up, there are a lot of different routes you can take, a lot of different themes that it could fall in. So I was intrigued to know whether it's like stop complaining, kind of shut the hell up, or the actual meaning of the book to shut up the hell in your life.
Once you got into the book, what was it about the book that surprised you most?
The thing that surprised me the most about the book was how relevant it was to my life at every single moment of me touching the book. It's kind of like getting the answers before, during, and after the test. So we would go through and we would have a week to read each chapter, and whether you read that chapter at the beginning of the week, the middle of the week, or you crammed it all in at the end of the week, the life that you lived that week aligned with the context of that chapter. And I was like, is he writing this book right now? Are there hidden cameras in my house? Because it just felt too timely, too personal.
Tell me one thing about the book that you read, or one thing from the book that you read that you believe you'll remember, you won't forget.
The thing that I'll remember the most from the book is the question, what story are you telling yourself? So in combination of reading this book and going through a 457-day challenge, my word was intentional. And then when I heard that question, what story are you telling yourself? I wanted to be really intentional with figuring out what story I was telling myself. So I actually did like a root cause analysis in my life to get to the bottom of, okay, all of these challenging experiences that I've had, like what is that pit that I just keep falling into? And the pit was that I'm not enough, that nobody's ever going to choose me. So in going and reading through the book, I realized that I had to program an interrupt to whenever that story was replaying in my mind. And it's like you may feel like you are not enough or that nobody will choose you, but God has chosen you, and God is more than enough. And in whatever weakness I may have, his strength is made perfect. So that's something that in everything that I'm doing, I'm aware of whether or not that story is replaying in my mind or if I'm doing something to interrupt that story that I'm telling myself.
So it sounds like through this book, you have experienced quite a transformation. Expound on how this journey has changed
Ooh, how this journey has changed me. How much time do we have?
you.
Um, I just want to start by saying, like, I'm not there yet. Like, in reading this book, I've learned that it's a process, a cycle, really, that you're just going to continuously go through for the rest of your life. And I think that a big shift for me was accepting that there is not necessarily an end point to this journey, that the work that is happening in, through, and around me is going to continue with me for the rest of my life. Like that word of intentionality, understanding the story that I'm telling myself, I feel like it has changed the way that I interact with my husband, the way that I parent my children, the way that I lead the staff. Our pastor, there was something that he shared where basically it's like you have to get to the heart of the matter, where you can't just change the hand, you can't just change the mind, you have to start with the heart. And once the heart changes, then your mind, the way that you think about things will change, and then that in turn will impact your hands. And I have carried that into so many, it's so transferable. I can't tell if I'm still answering the question. I'm
You
sorry.
you are, and I thank you. I thank you for it. It sounds like this book for you has been an important part of your journey. Would you say that this book is an essential book for Christians in particular to read? And if so, why is this essential?
I would definitely say this book is essential for Christians, um, for the different type of believers that are out there, for the doubting believers, and also for the believing believers. Um, I think that a question I had to ask myself was, do you really believe? So it's like I say, yes, I believe in God, but do you really though? So I think I kind of still fall into that category of the doubting believer. So in my in my intro, the reason that I said that I was unsuspectedly provoked was because I think I wasn't expecting for the book to call me to do something different, if I'm being fully honest. And on the contrary, the book completely flipped my life upside down and was like, you need to do something different in all areas. This book is essential because that truth that you're comfortable in may not be the truth with a capital T.
That's good. That's good. Who should read this book?
Um, I don't think this book is for everyone. I think this book is for the people who are consciously unsettled in their lives. I think that if you are fighting for peace, if you feel alone, if you feel like you're living in lack, if you feel like you are not enough, if you feel like you are a victim and that life is happening to you, I feel like this book is for you, for those people. Because the type of self-analysis and self-reflection that this book calls you to, it'll help you move from those things to where God has you, where God wants you to be.
That's awesome. Thank you. I see you have your copy of your manuscript with you. And so perhaps there are some sections or passages that resonated with you that you'd like to share with a prospective reader. Take a moment and share a couple of things with us.
So I have a lot. I feel like all of chapter 8, Draw the Line, it's an exceptionally written chapter, and it's also life-changing, like making that high-level decision and then everything else in your life filters through that high-level decision of ultimately choosing life. Um, Also, internal voices, understanding that we do hear voices, um, that the weightiest voice is your voice in the sense of the story that you're telling yourself. The delicate dance with God, that you don't want to be a rag doll out there on the dance floor, because I think that there's like this cultural understanding that, you pray and wash your hands of it and leave it to God and God will do everything, but that makes God sound more like a servant, and that's not necessarily the role. And the last thing that I pointed out was caveat number 3 from one of the later chapters about making it purposeful and not personal. I think that, like, as a person who lives life through emotions, like I filter life through emotions, this chapter was really good to understand that, like, everything that I do should be aligned with a purpose and not kickstarted because of an emotion that I'm feeling. If you are contemplating on the fence about ordering this book, I think that you should stop and ask yourself, do you want to live in lack or do you want to live in more than enough? Do you want to be a victim or do you want to be a victor? Do you want to keep on surviving or do you want to thrive? And once you ask yourself those questions and honestly answer, because some people are okay in their mess, if you end up on the latter of those choices, I would definitely say to order this book. It's going to challenge you. It's going to confirm some things for you. I really think that it would be beneficial for you to read.